sorry, I have to cut you on.
Yeah, Alana, your mom is not my mom.
Okay. And you can also
Your mother gave me a compliment and
My name is Jan Smith, and I'm the director of Somos. And this is one of my very favorite nights of the entire year that I get to hear young writers, because their work is usually just so profound, because it's so raw, it's so inspirational, it's so from the heart. It's so from the heart. So I know that these young writers are not going to disappoint. I'm sure we're all in for a major treat tonight. And I also just want to make a couple of thank yous. I've also invited some past mentors of the Young Writers Program are also celebrating tonight. If you can stay, I have a big cake that needs to be eaten. It's the 30th anniversary of the Young Writers Program. I wanted to call out a few mentors. I hope I don't embarrass you. So first I see Rita O'Connell, who was a mentor and a curator, right, for the program. Phaedra Greenwood. There she is. Do I see someone else except for the current Susan, were you curator? Yes, you were. No, not a mentor. You were a mentor. Okay. Well, those mentors. Oh, and you were too. Okay, sorry, Anne. I didn't mean to ignore you. It's sort of hard to kind of glance around and see who's here. And I hope they come. I know there's one alum here at the moment, but I did invite some others, so I hope that they will come in and read for us. I just want to give a few thank yous for this program that's been in existence for 30 years and is supported by the New Mexico Arts, New Mexico Humanities Council, the Taos Community Foundation, and for many, many years before the foundation ended, the Martin Foundation really strongly supported the Young Writers Program. In addition, individual sponsors of Andrea Watson, Joan Ryan, Kate O'Neill, Anna McCracken, and an anonymous sponsor have helped support the program. I've lately become more aware of wanting to sort of give an appreciation to the land that we're all on, and that's been here for, well, way before my European ancestors ever came across the pond. And I just want to honor the original Tiwa people, the home of the Red Willow, as well as the Don Fernando land grants, and the fact that I bless the fact that we can all, anyone who is here who's not descendant from this land, can be a good guest and help to honor the traditions of the original peoples. So with that, I'd like to invite a special guest to come up first briefly. I know he's a very, very busy man. I specifically invited him because he's an alum of the Young Writers Program and his mentor is here. So welcome to our mayor, Pasquale.
Jan, thank you so much. Really great to be here. I'm really excited to hear some of your stories. I was an alum in 7th grade when I was at Taos Middle School in 1999. And Phaedra,
There she is.
There she is, was my mentor. And we had a great time that year, sat down, wrote some great stories together, one of which even got published. And it was a really inspirational time for me, and learned the importance of communication, which I'm still using today. So I'm looking forward to hearing some of your stories.
Thank you. So we have two young writers who are going to be the co-MCs tonight. One of them, this is her 3rd year in a row, is that correct, Ilana? Ilana Weisfeld, and also Grace Carmona Young, who I remember when she was this tall, but had the voice and the written word of an adult. And now she's much taller. What year are you in, Grace?
I'm a senior.
You're a senior now. So let's welcome Ilana and Grace.
So our first writer, we have Sawyer, who's not quite soft-spoken but always gentle inside. Sawyer has been writing for years and writing well all the while.
An academic at heart and a fiery friend through and through.
My first one I'll be reading is called Eraser. I don't remember the things you said late at night while half asleep. I don't remember promises made with your fingers crossed. Removing the memories of blind joy. Forgetting how we were before everything happened. Erasing everything I know about you and how I was with you. I don't remember the way you looked at me, the way we bantered and had inside jokes. Everyone noticed us before we noticed each other. Erasing every little thing. I don't remember before you or during you, and I'm erasing after you. The second one I'll be reading is called 14. Crazy of a thought. How do you dedicate years to a number, associate memories to a number? Since to silly little number 14. How do I explain how when I see 14, my senses activate. My nose tingles with the smell of dirt, grass, and sweat. I can feel the stickiness on my skin. I see the rolling of a silly little black ball. My ears burning with the radiating sounds of tranquil quiet, cheers, and raised voices. How do I explain the late nights and early morning memories that flow back in an instant? Explain how one insignificant number changed my life. Took over my life in some of the best, but also some of the worst ways. The all-consuming. There's worse loves to become all-consumed with. So thank you to number 14, our therapy sessions, joy shared, tears shed, to grass stains from battles, but most of all for what you gave me. I'll be reading one last poem called Yellow Brick Road. It's about my journey with anxiety and trying to overcome it. Running through a fog, trying to find any way out while I'm tripping over air. Under attack from all directions. Attempting to outrun the storm following me. Running with no path or angle in sight. Trying to survive, but it's hard to breathe with elephants on you. As the storm is nipping at my heels, the weakness sets in. Calling for help, only to hear the echo of deafening silence. It is me, the fog, and the storm. Where's my yellow brick road when I need it the most?
Next we have Roz. Roz is just starting on her writing journey. Beauty and kindness flow out of her like ink on paper.
She's quick-witted and has quite the way with words. And fun fact, she loves the song Careless Whisper.
The song part is debatable. This first poem is called Hindsight's 2020. Perhaps things do gain clarity with time, like a ripple fading into calm water. But maybe time blurs emotions, and time twists details, just enough to make the lies seem easier to believe. Maybe I should forgive and forget, or forget in order to forgive. Can you do one without the other? And then this one is called Temporary Tattoos. Some brandish hearts on their sleeves. I'm not a lover, but I am a creator. My romance exists only in the labyrinth of my mind. I wear my art on my hands. With every brushstroke, I leave as much paint on my fingers as the canvas. With each pencil swipe, my writing seeps into my pores. I need no other touch. When my creativity's domain is expanded from my mind, I leave traces of my ideas on my skin. Temporary tattoos born of passion, love marks more precious than any you could give me.
Sully is one of the sweetest people whose writing is just as beautiful as her. She wears her heart on her sleeve and would do anything for someone she loves.
Sully is a newer writer, but her writing shows the writing of someone with years of experience.
The first poem I'm reading is called Rain. I didn't know I was capable of feeling this much love, not just for one person, but love in general. All of you take up every ounce of love in my heart, more than I ever thought possible. Like rain fills old rusty pails from when I was a kid, drop by drop till it overflows, runs down my cheek and stains my cat's fur. I cry, like the world cries, filling up lakes and rivers, cracks in the road and cracks in people's heart. Even in the most beautiful places it rains, and in my slice of heaven it pours. This one's called Stupid Cupid. There are different types of love. There is love you feel in every fiber of your being, in the depths of your soul and the highest peaks in your mind. Love so passionate and overpowering you don't know what to do with it. Fizz, pop fizz, it overflows. Then there is new love. This love is filled with curiosity and fueled by each new discovery. Growing and growing, it keeps expanding, love infinitely. But for some, it stops. You have learned all there is to know, the curiosity, the love. It dies. And lastly, you have love that only happens when Cupid gets drunk and only remembers to shoot one arrow. You feel so much love, it consumes you. It hurts you, because they don't know. Love eating away at your soul, and after each painful bite, you ask, "Silly Cupid, when are you going to remember? Realize you have an extra arrow, and if you do, will you even care? I know you aren't a young cherub anymore. You have grown up. Our ugly, beautiful world has jaded you. But my love is in that satchel you carry. It's in your hands, so please, let me have my love." And this last one is called Mother. Your venom poisoned my mind, melted my bones, and hardened my heart. Layers of skin fall at my feet like when you used to cut my hair. Do not presume my love because it is no longer meant for you. Truth is hard, and the truth is, I will not mourn you. Let blissful perfect days and sleepless crying nights die along with you. You will not be missed.
Okay, next up we have Sully. Julia. Sully just went. Julia, a force to be reckoned with. Julia writes with prose and professional.
Her passion is expressed through her words, and her beautiful personality shines through always.
Hi. This first poem is called Roses. Glass in my arteries, bones like dead sunflower stalks against a sky of falling stars. You are always too raw. Your soul is blistered from the knife of white lies and black skies. But your bones are so beautiful, in that little black dress that seems to barely fit your body. And her sweater is bleached, and her body's afire. But you're calloused from living in the snow, and she won't speak to you, because she doesn't even know how to dream. And every night you vomit bile and ink and everything you aren't supposed to say, because it would rip her body up. This next one's a bit longer. It's called We Live in a Desert. Anyone can create thunder if they really try, but it takes a special type of person to light their own heart on fire and watch as the smell of burnt plastic fills the air. I do not know how to make someone else fall apart like that, but I can tell you what makes me scream in my sleep each night. Why do you breathe so shallow all the time, stepping carefully as if you'll never die? We are nothing but embers in a fire after all, floating into the night sky, hoping to join the stars. We live in a desert where the screams echo off the mountains and the sky is always an uncanny blue to offset the same barbed wire fence you cut yourself on last night when you had too much to drink and fell into the bushes. And the sun-bleached band-aids on your skin seem so invisible no one can see them until they're trapped underneath. And we've both been dead for a long time now, stealing stolen dreams like the cars that litter the sides of the highway, but we keep trying to hotwire each other into believing the world breathes clear, when sometimes we can't even find where our own bodies rest easy. Why did you say that I'm hard to like? Why did you say that everything is really beautiful? Why are you burning up like an exposed nerve begging to be touched? I'm still dying. You're still ignored. We're all afraid to speak to each other. But maybe the dust that hangs in the air and sticks in your lungs already knows all our secrets anyway.
Okay, well, I'm
Next
next.
up
I don't really have a bio. We become bodies. I am the muse to your ear. Still, your heart lies in the bones of dog piles and slip and slides, elk sheds and back seats. I am a doll. Paint my face with your solitude. I remain constant. We are a weak sort of madness, insufferable and finite. Gravel pieces in a gizzard, meant to chew what turkeys can't. Am I the end? Okay, my last one's like longer. You are the bubblegum wrapper stuck between my teeth. Couldn't get enough of me. But we were just one rainy morning and one rainy night. You fell into me and I absorbed you, even like my bones for a bed. Knocking on the doors to your skin, I craved to wedge myself in your veins. I am the bugs you scratched at. Will I always sit too close and hope to fall through the branches of bushes into the back seat? It's different this time, for you at least. I can't read through this, and I left my glasses in the smoke. I brush your arms, know you keep me warm. Is it different for you? I hate that you're still there, building a nest in me. When it's too still, I become the branches. I remember the cottonwoods and your hair up. I still like when my skin smells like you, but I'm always quiet. You fill yourself with distractions to find, yes. Do you know that? It's different this time. Is it? Is it? And Grace is our last reader. Yeah.
Hi everyone. My poem is called Thunderstorm in July. You're here now in this building with its disgusting fluorescent lights overhead and plastic chairs that squeak when you move. The desk is fake wood and so is the floor, linoleum with streaks in it, a feeble attempt at ground. It says a lot about this place, about its systems. The problems get glossed over and everyone gets left in the dust. It's hard to smile sometimes. Your brainwaves are flatlined in this place, planning and worrying and preparing for the next test, the next assignment, the next step in life. But you want to be there on the mesa where time seems to slow to a crawl and the wind doesn't have any trees to blow through. The sage stretches into a blue-green sea before you. Magpies bask on the telephone poles in the afternoon sun as the sky swirls from robin's egg blue to a soft gray. Piles of clouds gather overhead and their bottoms grow heavy with dark, heavy with rain. You can almost taste it in the air, bubbles with excitement and dances along the invisible strings of cloud. And it thunders 1,000 marvelously loud hooves stampeding in the sky. And then the rain comes. The first drops catch the dry ground and make it bloom with petrichor, that smell that digs into your brain and makes you feel alive, sweet sage and misty rock, almost like ethereal blood. The rain patters onto the adobe roofs, scattered among the pepper of the pinon trees, down into barrels and red wheelbarrows, and onto windshields and tin roofs. And one day in the future, someone will remember a thunderstorm as the only thing that can put them to sleep. The rain and the thunder seem to clear the air, sketching a sheen of silver gray over everything, sharpening the lines, making the mountain more blue, and the sage the color of worn green corduroy. A sheen seems to exist in the air, clear and cold, and maybe the sun comes out or maybe it doesn't, but you still remember those summer monsoons, air as fresh as a glass of lemonade blowing into your room.
Wow. You know, Grace, I remember the first time you read for Somos.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Are you applying to colleges or no?
Yeah, I did.
Where are you going to go?
UNM.
UNM. All right. What are you going to major in?
I'm not sure yet.
Well, I did see another alum just come in, and there may be, is Cody here? No, Cody's not here. I thought Cody was going to come. At any rate, I see Olivia Romo, and Olivia Romo, I heard for the very first time in 2010. And that was when we had the Young Writers Night at the TCA, and Ann McNaughton was coaching the students that were going to perform. Do you remember that, Ann?
In what year?
That was 2010.
Okay.
2010 at
I
the
remember.
TCA. And then after that, we moved to Harwood for a while. And I remember Olivia also performing at the Harwood. And I remember the days of the Taos High School Slam team. Yay! I just hope someday that somebody has the energy and the passion to revive that. That would be awesome. And maybe even the poetry circus.
Yes.
Yes?
Oh, yes.
Because they do both take a lot of energy and time, and we were lucky to have them when we did. So I'd like to invite Olivia to come up to the stage. She has something she'd like to read now, 13 years later, and she is not only a poet, a farmer, an educator, an activist, and a Somos board member.
Well, good evening, families, and our incredible young people. I just want to say that it is our next generation of literary champions, and it renews my hope in the culture of the spoken word and our ability to share our stories and to be unapologetic and unafraid to tell those stories. And may you have a long career of writing and using your poetry and your prose and anything that you're working on as a tool for healing and to reclaim your identity and where it takes you wherever you go. And so I just want to share that and thank all of our instructors and teachers for your commitment to our young people here in Taos, and of course ultimately to Somos for holding a space for all of our young people. And so I remember being a young person in Taos, and Somos was in like this little trailer. I don't know, do you guys remember that? Like the roof would leak, and I can still remember the mojo, like the smell of musky, and the books. And I say that with love, right, with endearment, that this is how far we've come. And so I'm just, as a board member, really proud, and brings me a lot of joy. Well, I wrote just a quick little paragraph of something that I wanted to share, because it's a very special time. Actually, this Wednesday, I also turned 30 years old. So this is lots of...
Older now.
yeah, exactly. Vamos para abajo, no? So this is something I'm trying to dabble in that as I begin my journey into my adulthood. 30, only a quarter of my story. Heads towards the green door, tails whipping back and forth like a blue-tail lizard. This is the commencement of the ministry on earth, my regeneration, the unity of 3 perfect decades. They say, don't trust anyone over 30, but Keats enspeared himself in 30 perfect years and died not young. Divine completion, the holy 30. Tell me, What sins would you commit for 30 pieces of silver? What would your last words be if you only had 30 seconds? The farmer since ancient times has planted quarterly, nurtured heirloom seeds and crops in sacred geometry, irrigating with the moon. An elder told me that I am in my sacred number of sovereignty, that my purpose will align and my lessons will bear fruit. Charismatic and beautiful, I feel like Cleopatra, who reigned an empire for 30 years, but succumbed to self-infliction. Thank you. Okay, and I'm going to read my last piece. Will be a short story, and it's titled El Maíz que Cantaba, the Singing Corn. There once was a family who lived in Los Colonias. Tú sabes, la familia Leduc, que viven en Taos. Sí, enfrente de la casa corre la acequia de los Córdobas. As you know, they were poor, but still managed to raise 3 sons. The señora was a maestra and taught grade school por muchos años. Y su esposo era un cuartonero. He was missing a few fingers from working at the mill. But no matter how hard the couple no matter how hard the couple worked, their sons were forced to move away to find better jobs and make lives of their own. They led by 3 different roads. The oldest son, Alcario, moved to Albuquerque, where he joined a big construction company that was building all the homes on the west side. He was foreman and made lots of money until he fell in love with the architect's daughter, una güera. Hijuela! She took him to the cleaners and left his pockets empty, evicted, and on his way back to Taos. The middle brother, Pancho, he moved to Carlsbad to work in the oil patch. He was a truck driver and transported crude oil across state lines. But Pancho, he was a borracho. Gambled and drank his money away. Eventually, he lost his home, his wife, and had to leave back to Taos in debt, needing a place to rest his head. The youngest brother, though, Ignacio, he was a talonero. He actually decided to stay in Taos and was a jack of all trades. He was a carpenter, a farmer, and a businessman. He bought and traded livestock all over northern New Mexico and into southern Colorado. He turned Grandma and Grandpa's old adobe home into a trading post and his personal workshop. He made lots of money and helped his parents out every way he could. One morning, the 2 eldest brothers went to Ignacio's store to ask him for money. When they saw all the money he had in his safe, they drug him out behind the counter and began to beat him up. They kicked him, punched him broken until his body was limp and covered in blood. They killed their brother, and before anyone could find out, they buried him out back in their grandparents' fallow cornfield and swore to never tell a soul. But that spring, in their grandparents' fallow field where Ignacio was buried, grew a beautiful milpa of sweet corn. One day, a young native boy from the pueblo, Rolling Bear, was walking along the acequia and saw the incredible cornfield. He was hungry, so he picked an ear to eat. When he opened the husk, the corn began to sing. Eat me, good brother, eat me. As sadly as you know, my older brothers have beat me. From my grave I now bestow maíz concho. Rolling Bear was surprised and took the corn home to his parents. They opened its husk and the corn began to sing. Eat me, good brother, eat me. As sadly as you know, my older brothers have beat me. From my grave I now bestow maíz concho. They took the corn to their compadres allá in Los Colonias, Ignacio's parents. When they pulled back the husk, the corn began to sing for them too. Eat me, good brother, eat me. As sadly as you know, my older brothers have beat me. From my grave I now bestow maíz concho. They asked the boy where he found the corn, and they took them to the field of their parents, Gloria and Tranquilino Ledukes. They saw the beautiful corn that had grown taller than Ignacio's store, and together they cried. Immediately, they began to harvest the corn and cut down all the stalks, looking for the body of their son. Nothing was found, not even a pile of bones. They proceeded to build a big fire in their horno to make chicos. After they soaked the corn in water, they put it in the horno to steam. The smell of cedar and grief smoked into the night. The next morning, the father went to the horno para sacar a la maíz, pero cuando se abrió la puerta, there, sitting in the middle of the horno, was their son, Ignacio, covered in ash. Ignacio, cried his father, and pulled him out of the horno. He was not scorched or blistered, but instead, in perfect health, protected from the ash of the medicine corn. Thank you.
Olivia was one of the featured poets at the Elko Cowboy Poetry Conference a couple of years back, and also a featured poet, storyteller at the Taos Storytelling Festival a few years back as well. So this is what you can aspire to, Olivia. Someone told me that there might be one or two, maybe not, young writers that are here that aren't part of Estelle's group that might like to read. So I want to give them space for that. If there's anyone here, I'll give a minute. Okay. Then what I'd like to do now is to acknowledge Estelle, Laura, and Brianna Mesdor. They are the co-curators of this year's and last year's, and Estelle was the year before that. This is her third year. And is this your second? Yes, and Bree's second year as co-curators. And Estelle, this fine group of young women poets have been meeting with Estelle all through the year, weekly, right? And if you don't know Estelle, she is also a very gifted writer in her own right. She has many young adult and children's books that have been published, even a Disney contract. And Bree has taught English and creative writing in high schools, both at Taos High, Taos Academy, and also in one of the Dakotas, I can't remember which. South Dakota. I was going to say North, but it was South Dakota. Okay, so let's go on to cake and juice. And let's give a big round of applause to the mentors, curators, and our because there's a big cake.